Hello YouTube, and today we're going to be building some more of our computer. Today we're just going to be building the decoder for the 7-segment displays. Well, the 7-segment displays will probably wrap up this mini-series and we'll start a new computer. But today we are building the binary decoder, what can decode up to 63 different, well I guess 64 including 0, 64 different numbers. So we've copied and pasted that in using MC-Edit 2 I think it is. Check out that, it's a really great add-on to Minecraft I guess, not really add-on but application I guess, and it's fantastic for copying and pasting things into Minecraft, and I find it really useful. So let's have a look at what we're going to be making in this video. So what we're going to be building today is a bunch of stuff what decodes the signals coming from the outputs of the RS and all that jazz, and we'll go through this in more depth in a minute once we watch a replay video from the replay mod, and it goes through here, and we basically get a 7-segment display outputs coming along here, and although there's no 7-segment display at the moment, there will be a 7-segment display probably next video. We'll wrap up the series and we'll start a new computer to build what's going to be a bit more complex. Anyway, we build this what basically just is a massive OR gate with multiple inputs, and that works with 7-segment display. We also build an encoder here, what I'll probably demonstrate in a Redstone tutorial at some point. I've done a decoder, I need to do an encoder at some point, so I'll make sure I've done it at some point. So that is what we're going to be building. We'll take a look at it in more detail in a minute. And let's get started with the replay. And I'm going to be using a replay mod for Minecraft to do this. Well, I copied and pasted this in, but anyway, this is from one of my previous builds. So I've done well. It's not been on YouTube, but I did build this for one of my computers what I made when I was practicing. Anyway, so we'll get started with the replay mod. Show you how I built this basically. So let's have a look at that. Before we get started with this replay mod, I just really wanted to quickly mention that in the first video I did on the logic gates, when I was teaching binary, I believe I said there's something ridiculous like 8 bytes in this binary number what I showed. I was wrong on that one. I think it was 1 byte, and I didn't know binary too well at the time, and I was just starting YouTube, so that's why that wasn't right. But yeah, basically I got a bit mistaken on some of the things in binary because I was a bit confused about it. But yes, it was not something ridiculous what I said at the time at 8 bytes, it was 1 byte, because it had 8 different binary numbers, and I will show you that in probably a later video. Yeah, just say the logic gates video and a few other videos where I've mentioned binary numbers and the amount of information, and I think they were wrong. So I'm going to research that a bit more and find out the correct one for a future episode. So I hope you enjoy this replay mod, and let's get started. Hi guys, I'm using a replay mod too, as I've mentioned several times. It's a really cool mod, check that out, and let's have a look at what we're going to be making. So I build redstone torch towers and try to make sure all the signals go into one big line so they're easy to put into redstone wires. I also make sure all the signals are off for when they get to this wire. If not, you can have them on, but it just makes it a bit easier having them off. So I then just make a big platform using a fill command on it, and then I make that wire is 15 blocks long, so it will only correspond to the same piston as the redstone torch was. So we then start building the inputs for the binary decoder, and these are all wired up, and they all go into the right sections of the binary decoder, and each of the wires will then trigger loads of pistons to change and hopefully decode a analog output, and that's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 output from the binary inputs. So we can get a maximum of 63, up to 0 to 63 numbers come out of it, and this is because it has got 1 byte, I think it is, of information. No, it hasn't got 1 byte, I think it's got 6 bits of information going into it, and that is why we get 63 different outputs, well 64 different outputs. I then make redstone torch towers, and I decided to change this design because before we had 6 different torch towers what would have the analog output, but I decided to make it into a binary output by re-encoding them. Even though we just put a big decoder now, I thought it would be easier to just have them in 3 wide wire coming out of it. So anyway, I started building this, and as you can see I decided to change it. And I probably will do a redstone video on how to make binary encoders. They're fairly simple, they just include a bunch of OR gates. Then I build this redstone torch tower, what goes downwards. I've not really come up with a name for that yet. It's featured in many redstone builds though, so I didn't invent it or anything like that. But then I make this go right up to the top of the encoder so we can get all the different outputs from the decoder, and it'll just get all the tens outputs from the decoder and then put them back into binary for this wire. So as you can see now, I'm just putting in the binary, so it will convert it back into binary using the binary encoder. So as you can see, I've just wired up to the first redstone torch tower, and I'll probably do it to the second now. As you can see, I've just done it to the second one. The next one will be the first and the second one, because that makes it 3 in binary. And so as you can see, wired up to the first and second one, what makes it 3 in binary. And then I will do the last one, as you can see there, and then I'll do the fourth and first one to make a 5, and then the fourth and second one to make a 6. So then, as you can see, this is a binary decoder. What I made I made this for a previous project. It's not actually on YouTube, but I made it for a computer I made a while ago, and it just decodes inputs from binary numbers to outputs of analog. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then I start building the OR gates, what will control the 7-segment displays. Actually, no, first I label up which redstone torch tower corresponds to which one, and then I think I'll just do some quick outputs from them for later on. For the 7-segment display, what we'll be doing next video. So as you can see, I'm just moving the camera around, so there we go. And this then has the outputs, what will hopefully be built in a second, or maybe not. Yep, they're about to be built. There we go. And this is just going to be outputs for next time. For next time we make when we do the 7-segment display. And now we're going to be building the OR gates for the 7-segment display, and this will just control each segment of the 7-segment display depending on which number is activated. So you can see we have these redstone wires going across in a minute, and this is basically similar to the tutorial I did on programming a computer. It's just a bunch of OR gates, and you put redstone torches in the relevant places so you can get the right output from it. So as you can see, I'm just putting all these in for each number so they will correspond to each segment on the 7-segment display. That pretty much finishes off this build. In a minute I'll just put in the final few redstone torches for the numbers, but I just then put some outputs from this so we can wire them up next time to the 7-segment display. So I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll go back to the usual Minecraft world. So I hope you enjoyed that. I did use a replay mod for this Minecraft build, and why isn't that repeated there? Like, alright, okay. I'm getting quite a bit of lag purely from this redstone decoder here, binary decoder even. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. I did use videos to what's called time lapse. That is word. I keep calling it cinematic and video. I mean time lapse, but we're going to have a look through what we built in that, so let's start. So, last episode we pretty much finished off on the redstone comparator, and I've then used these comparators to make torch towers, and then these torch towers, basically because this comparator is out by 1, as you can see. I need them all in one big line because otherwise it'll be a bit of a pain. Well, it won't be too much of a pain, but yeah, something like that. Anyway, so we've got these redstone torches, and we need to make sure they're all off when they get to this wire. So basically we've made redstone torch towers what will go off when they get to that wire. But you might be wondering what this big long strip of redstone wire is. Redstone wire runs out after 15 blocks, so we can show this. So if we go a lever, we can place a lever and turn it on. We can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And you'll see if I place 16th one, it should go off if I've done this right. There you go, it's off. And this means that it can't power the one next to it. So if we place 2 repeaters here, you can see it cannot power the one next to it, it can only power the one in this line. So this is basically what this is. We've got a big long strip of redstone wire, and it will run out after it's 15 blocks and not interfere with the repeater next to it. You can see we've just powered this end of the redstone wire. This travels along and will only power this repeater, which will in turn only power this repeater because it is 15 blocks long, and it just runs out of power when it gets to this one. Well, it is very, very useful. Well, you could have just, if it was 20 blocks when it ran out, you could just put it 20 blocks further on. But anyway, this then travels along and push all the pistons down will activate the redstone decoder, and it means that the signal can get through in the right place, and that means it can go down into these OR gates. So we're going to have a look at that. I'm just going to very quickly turn off this lever. So as you can see, we've got the redstone decoder here, and this works by taking these signals, and if it has a redstone torch on like this one, just remove the redstone torch here, it powers these pistons. This blocks certain signals from getting through, so you can see this one can't get through, but if it's on, it could do. But let's ignore that and we'll move on. And we will find the signal where it can get through, so I think it's on the second row. So it is here. As you can see, the signal is on here. So what this does, the signal comes along here, and probably on this one, and it can pass through because there's a repeater on here, but as you can see the other one can't pass through because there is no repeater. This then changes, if we can get through, there we go, this then changes these redstone torches, so it means that this one is on when it powers redstone wire. This redstone wire is the tens column, I guess, is a column, I don't know. It's tens, part of the number, so you get like 0, 1 for 1, and then 1, 1 for 11, 2, 1 for 21, and 3 for 3, 1, and so this is like the 1, 2, 3 bit on the start of a number. End of a number, what do we know? It's a tens anyway. So this is what, yeah. So 10 plus whatever number down here would get whatever. So what we have is this redstone torch, and this powers this block here, this redstone wire. And what this is telling us in binary, although it's the wrong way around, so let's have a look at this angle. We have 0, 0, 1. And in binary, this is 1, so it's telling us to add 1. Well, we know this is 10, so we're going to times it by 10 no matter what. This tells us to add 1 to that number. If there's 1 above, you can see it'll be linked to the second one. Through. It's just linked to this second one here. And the next one will be, so that will be 2. The next one will be linked to the 3 here, so we've got 2 lit up. Well, not lit up because it's not on, but we would have 3 if it was on. And what this is, we've got this redstone wire here, what then can transfer down these vertical torch towers and go, well, moving downwards torch tower, or most of the torch towers vertical, but then this powers this one on, what we will connect a 7 segment to display to later. And as I said, that will probably wrap up the series for this mini build. Anyway, so we have, that moves down here and travels out there. The other signals move down a bunch of redstone torch towers for a specific one, so as you can see we've got here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so you can see this would be the 6, so it's 16 I think it would be, 1, 6, what would be 16, yeah. And what this is here is basically, when we did that programming a computer, we made something a bit like this, and this is basically just an OR gate, and this OR gate will get the different signals and then put them into the 7 segment display, ready for the 7 segments. So let's have a look at 6. So this is one, is it 6? Yeah, 6 is currently on. So you see these redstone torches turn on and power these specific redstone wires they correspond to. You see these two aren't powered, there's no redstone torch there. If you wanted them to power, literally just get a redstone torch. Pop them there even, sorry. And then these will travel down and go through here into the OR gates, and that's basically how that works. So they travel out and into the 7 segment display. That's what this binary decoder does, and this binary decoder was just copy pasted in from MC Edit. And as you can see, we'll just go through this again. Each one of these powers a different redstone torch tower, depending on the binary code. So although we've got this big binary decoder, yes, we have encoded the outputs of the 10s back into binary, so it can be transferred and then decoded later. I've done this just so it's easy because we've only got 3 wires. I'll probably do an encoder video. It'll be probably a very, very short one for my redstone tutorial series, so I hope you enjoy that. Should be something coming up on the channel. I'm sorry I'm doing a lot of like cuts in these videos and putting different videos together to make it. It's just how I like do my videos at the moment until I get a bit better at YouTube and recording. So that is basically what we've done in this video. We've taken the outputs from this, travelled them along, put them in the binary decoder. And you might notice that this might not always work. This is purely from lag. It's just not updating all these chunks because it doesn't think it needs updating, so none of the redstone's activating sometimes. And that might be a problem when we're building 7-segment displays. But as I said, 7-segment displays are probably going to be the last video on this on this mini series, and we're going to start another computer, hopefully making that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have enjoyed it, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you from Crafting Redstone.